Someone back there drove back here. You can see your door, they did the doorway, the dog is telling you, where you, that drove back here.
In what sense?
Who is who? Said to us, the other body drove back up. We saw with Joe Baga, we as a study, I want to Joe Baga right here. That Joe Baga no coup. To CDC. This woman is very dishonest. We can hit salary mommy, but tomorrow we are meeting our political leader.
Thank you, sir.
Anything she say, they never wear me, I'll put a job here.
Wow,
so the problem of job to be there, they will be the criminal bad.
Wow.
But when but who are we before? But in that way, who are we UP? Who are UP and jumping Josie? So when who come out in that squeeze, they want almost city voting like you was very fully. I'm bringing. I will bring down there. One more job I come in. That time they hold that for the dark. I will spell out the belly of here to come here free. You say who is school?
That just only the men designing or the men have already decided to make.
My brother, everywhere smoke is fire there. Who teach our money? Who teach our money to the phone of UP? And the thing that had to me is that if you are going to take do that thing that you supposed to meet the leader of the other party and have a discussion on it. But you don't sit down there, you're going to get someone heart attack, that you want to come fight where you call someone in the near.
Good afternoon, and a pleasant welcome to Freedom Hub on 87.9. This is the official voice of Freedom Communications Incorporated. My name is Kyle Oliver Kine. I'm here with Princess Alexa Vanja Colley. Jointly, we run till 6 o'clock today, bringing you all of the information you need to know about Liberia, West Africa, and the rest of our one planet. Too many things happening across the world. The Liberian president, His Excellency Dr. George Weah, is out of the country to attend the coronation of the Royal Highness of the UK. And obviously, of course, he is a part of I didn't get that correct. He is a part of a little over 2,000 guests from around the world who were officially invited by the royal family to grace the coronation of the prince, the man who is going to take over from the late Queen Elizabeth. That is to what extent Liberia has been recognized. If you think it is not the case, there are other countries that did not get invitation. There were other countries that were not invited. So for Liberia to be present, for our flag to be, represented, shows that we are on path. It shows that we are a country of stability. Too many things. We are told from unconfirmed sources made us to understand that the former Chief Justice of this country, Madam Gloria Scott, was at the headquarters of the Liberian National Police today for her fingerprints to be taken, as the LMP is doing everything possible to conclude the process of charging her to court in connection to the death of Charlie Musu. That is what we are told. And so we are still having this story developing from up Capitol Hill. During the course of the presentation today, we are hopeful that our sources within the Liberian National Police and members of the Liberian press covering the judiciary, and those covering the Liberian National Police as well, will furnish us with all of what we need to know. But from the basic raw facts that we have available unto us that we are yet to independently verify, it is clear that Madam Chief Justice was at the LMP headquarters today, where her fingerprints were taken to be placed on the criminal bench, like we say in Liberia, on her way to court in connection to the death of her daughter, Charlie Musu, the late. So those are issues. By 5 o'clock today, we will play host to Mamesi Kaba. Minister Mamesi Kaba is an assistant minister there at the Ministry of Gender. The government's performance, what is it from the angle of the gender, segment of the Liberian society? What is it in terms of achievement by the government with specific reference to gender-sensitive issues, plus other issues of national concerns bordering on the governance of the country? Those are conversations we'll be having. Honorable Speaker Nukwe, former Speaker Nukwe, made it clear to the people of Margibi over the weekend, justifying his reasons for aligning with President George Weah. So we'll play you the voice of the former speaker, now Senator Nukwe. We'll also play you some other voices of key actors in the current political dispensation, ranging from Prince Yomi Johnson to several of his contradictory statements. And we do the analysis about what's actually happening in the country. We take a break. When we come back, Alexa and I will rumble into the issues making the news in this country. For those of you, our serious people listening to serious platform on a serious radio station, let's take a break to be right back.
Yo, hello. I want to talk about violence. More violence is indiscriminate. It can happen for any reason and to anyone. Until we do something to serve the source of vigilante-side justice in this country, none of us will be saved. My Liberia is Liberia of hope. In my Liberia, it is possible. Violence is not part of my Liberia. Violence leads to property damage, injury, or even death. We are seeing recent months in several parts of Liberia, including Morocco. Talk to people in your community about violence. Stand up against mob. Be a community that we must all unite to uphold the rule of law. Thanks for listening. This is Old Man Sam Simon.
Okay, one piece in Liberia, piece in Monrovia. Let's have let's do this adjustment. Alexa, good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Oliver, and I would like to say good day to all of you out there. So, however, will you joining us, would like to say welcome to Freedom Hub on 87.9 FM. The best thing to happen to Liberia about this time, and of course, it is live on Freedom Radio Liberia via Facebook and YouTube. And interestingly, this year is really one of the best years of my life. I have a whole new namesake. You can imagine that. So Oliver is a father of a newborn, very cute baby, like a
Okay.
baby girl. So of course, that's my namesake, and it is amazing because this year, for the first time, I got a voter registration card, and this year again, for the first time, I officially have a namesake. So I think this year is
And for
one
the
of
first time, you officially watched the Lone Star play.
yes, wow, yeah, I watched the Lone Star play live. So it's really an interesting year for me, and it is one of the best years so far. So I'm really grateful for that. So congratulations to you, Oliver.
Thank you.
And that little girl is going to be spoiled, not in a bad way, and she's going to be loved beyond the word love. So yeah, I mean, it's a great thing, and I'm actually happy for that. But we'd like to say welcome. We have a lot to talk about. Yeah, Oliver is a father of a baby girl. That's amazing, like so amazing.
Explain
So
it.
all the trouble part, we can talk all
Explain it.
trouble that's not coming already.
Explain
But
it. Explain it.
we're not gonna say all. Like seriously, we're not gonna say all. But that's a great news, honestly. But we have a lot to talk about. Listen to Oliver, the president has departed Liberia earlier today, and he's on his way to the UK along with his team. They're going to grace into an occasion there where there will be a coronation, and it is going to be an amazing moment because our president is invited and a lot will be done. However, there are several political issues in country ranging from or different support systems to exactly what will make the forthcoming general and legislative elections. So there are a lot of things that we have on our plate to talk about. And yes, at 5.
Mhm.
So we're going to discuss national issues with regards to gender sensitive, issues as well. As she's from the angle of the Ministry of Gender, one of the assistant ministers there. So we're going to talk about all of those different things. So, however, will you join us? Want to say welcome?
Okay, so
Oh, have you changed diapers since the moment?
is it part of the discussion?
You have to. You have
No,
to.
no.
You have to
Is it
start
is it
doing
is
that.
it is it part of
You
the
have
discussion?
to start doing
No,
that.
no.
Like
I mean,
we want. We're discussing gender sensitive issues later on, so I just thought to
no. When my
ask
Mr.
you.
Kaba come, the both of you would do that conversation.
No.
I mean, I'm not too sure
Hope
it
you
is.
changed. I'll ask Madam.
No, but it is not part of the menu. So look, you're the man, and I'm not gonna be intimidated by what she's into. But basically, yeah. So I have a baby girl,
Isn't that amazing?
very beautiful. Yeah, you know,
Oh,
yeah, and so forth. So
so amazing! Like, oh my god,
yeah, and
Really
and
amazing.
we're kind of grateful that yeah. So I ran away from the show yesterday. I know all of you were concerned as to why I left Abu in charge. That was a matter of emergency, and so I had to leave. But thanks be to God, we were able to pull through, and so yeah. So that's where it is. So we have a new baby girl, Olive. Her name is Olive, and you don't ask for her last name because that would be very that would be very inappropriate. Yeah, but her friends will call her unofficially. When she's not doing official business, when they not get a great card, when they not get a passport, they not get a birth certificate. It'll be spelling Alexa Nina, yeah, Alexa. So she's gonna be called Alexa. That's her nickname. That's exactly what's gonna happen. And so yeah, so it is wonderful. Back to job. Yeah, back to job. I hope she's not gonna be radical like Alexa. Alexa is kind of very.
That's a good thing to actually
Yeah,
wish
I
for
mean,
in your girl child. Trust me.
to be radical.
Of course, radical in a good way.
Okay.
Like she's defensive. She's gonna be,
So forget all
affirmative.
forget
she's,
all that
she's gonna
all
be
that, all that
strong. She's
gender
gonna be
sensitive
confident.
issues.
She's gonna be
But
courageous, and she's going to have a lot of confidence, and it would definitely help her, to kick away some of the crazy guys who don't know exactly what.
guys,
Yeah, that's what I
I've
said.
got a gun, Alexa. I bought 3 guns.
What goes around comes around. So we gonna.
What are you trying to say? I said I bought guns. You said guys?
I didn't say anything.
No, guys from
I'm
what?
just saying. No, I'm just saying what goes
No,
around.
but
comes
you just said
around.
something. I mean, the guys will
No. I said it is important to
Let me
always wish
say
for
it-
your
let me
child to
say
be
it-
your
let-
girl child to be radical because it helps a lot in several different aspects.
And you
She
mentioned
knows.
you
yeah,
mentioned
listen,
guys.
she knows what she wants.
Uh-huh.
She's going to have confidence. She's going to be courageous. She's going to be strong enough to kick away foolish guys. That's what I said.
Foolish guys. Thank God
Yeah.
you mentioned foolish guys. Let the government know. In fact, if the government want to check my whole country, I have guns. I have guns. So I'm warning anybody,
Don't worry.
any intruder. Austin Kawa's son, Shooks. All that way you him son. I'm warning Austin. If Austin Kawa's son visit my house without invitation, if you hear gun son, Austin should not take me to court. I'm being clear about it. That is no if and but, no if and but about it. Kawa, if your son is visiting my house, there should be
A prior notice.
prior notice. I mean, if it were warrant me issuing visa to small beginner coming to my
Oh my
house,
God.
you will have to sit interview to get visa. I got guns, so don't bring beginner being to me. It's not gonna work. Yeah, it is certainly not gonna work. But what kind of deep talk? What goes around? What did not go around?
And you get one too, so unless you have to get me some kind of way.
Her pass would buy gun. if a father did not buy gun to prevent me, I went in my business, but I'm buying guns.
Okay, no problem.
So nobody trespassing. Yeah, but let's take a break to be right back. Yeah, we got to do this.
Yo, hello. I want to talk about violence. More violence is indiscriminate. It can happen for any reason and to anyone. Until we do something to stop the surge of vigilante-side justice in this country, none of us will be safe. My Liberia is Liberia of hope. In my Liberia, it is possible. Violence is not part of my Liberia. Violence leads to property damage, injury, or even death, as we are seeing recent months in several parts of Liberia, including Monrovia. Talk to people in your community about violence. Stand up against mob justice. Be a community hero. Liberia is all that we have. We must all unite to uphold the rule of law. Thanks for listening. This is Old Man Sam Simon.
Okay, we want peace in Liberia, peace in Monrovia. So if you want peace, you know exactly what to do. But we're back, and yeah, we got Mamesi Kaba at 5:00. But she'll be sitting in by 5:10. 10 minutes after 5, she'll be sitting in. That is when we'll get done with the first batch of callers. But Mamesi Kaba, the assistant minister, Minister Kaba, is going to be our guest. One-time fearless female caller. The gender people say we should not say female caller.
Yeah.
So one-time fearless caller.
Yeah.
But we're back. Alexa, since Mr. Black has selected Jeremiah Kun as his running mate, there's been a lot of issues going on social media, and the first has to do with Mr. Cummings' official response. Since this whole thing, DeLong is yet to issue an official statement. Yomli wrote something, but she's yet to actually give the public, an overview as to where she's going to. DeLong is yet to do so as well. Costa is still in shock. He's yet to recover from the shock he sustained as a result of the Pape selection. But one person who came up open is Mr. Cummings, and if I will paraphrase, I don't know if you have his direct quotation. We'll play his voice later on. But if I'll paraphrase, he said, when the village is hungry, when you have all of the people in the village suffering from hunger, and you got one cutlass, to make farm, don't take the cutlass and put it in the hands of the oldest in the town. Only because you say the man is old, he got experience, so he will grow. Food on the farm because of his experience. You want to read exactly what he said?
Okay, so this is something that was taken from exactly his speech yesterday, and it says the entire village will perish and die of hunger if we give the only cutlass to an old man to make a farm simply because he has experience.
Okay.
So basically, as one of the things or one of the trending phrases from his speech yesterday.
The entire village will perish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want you to
the entire village will perish and die of hunger if we give the only cutlass to an old man to make a farm simply because he has experience.
Mhm.
So this is wow. Kumis. So this is exactly one of the things that Kumis said yesterday, and it has been trending actually on the social media since yesterday. This is like one of the most catchy phrases. So it
Mhm.
has been like shared on the social media. It has been paraphrased by a lot of people on the social media. So I guess yesterday was one a heck of a day for a JMB because the entire basically the entire speech just focused on Omenjo Buakai. And
So
all of the different statements in segments they were basically directed to him.
Mhm.
So I don't know exactly where that came from. I don't know exactly how because according to them it was a State of the Nation address from Cummins, as usual how they usually
yeah,
do all
yeah.
those different things, but it was exactly directed to Buakai yesterday, so it's a lot. And now we have too many changes on the social media
Yeah.
from the Unity Party, from some folks from the ALP, from some folks of ANC. So it's like it's just a circular drama right now on the social media. So you have a lot of the folks that just going at one another, from people saying someone who has stayed a longer time in politics, and people are trying to actually lean on that person's experience. And in Cummins' words,
Mhm.
the experience people are talking about, it doesn't really add up to anything that has been done before. It doesn't add up to anything that has been done based on your different experience, because if you're an individual and then you have several experiences in maybe a specific area, people are actually looking forward to exactly what you've done. People are looking forward to the lives you've imparted, and the different changes you've made. So I think basically it was just around that a whole phrase that people are trying to get out of the different
Yeah, you don't give the cutlass,
yeah.
to the oldest man in the town because you think he got experience and he will grow more food, than the younger
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
But let's listen to Mr. Cummins and hear him verbatim, as to what he said yesterday. Let's listen.
A wise old man told me that when hunger is taking over a village, to give the only cutlass to one's grandfather and the oldest man in the village to go make a farm because he has experience in making farms is to agree to let the village die from starvation. To one's grandfather and the oldest man in the village to go make a farm because he has experience in making farms is to agree to let the village people die from starvation.
Okay, so like you interpreted what he said. I don't know why Mr. Cummins, in the first place, I don't know why Mr. Cummins choose to respond to Joe Barker's selection of
Running mate.
of a running mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because ever since, Joe Barker took Cummins to court through Benin Ayure, Cummins should have known that Barker ain't get any time for whatever he's going to do at his CPP/ANC and the vice versa. I don't know the intent of Cummins saying all of what he said yesterday, because these people were in conversation 2 weeks ago. And that is the insincere part of the politics in our country that sometimes I do not understand. And when we sound the way we normally sound on this radio, people think we are, whatever they want to brand us. Right? 2 weeks ago, Alexa, Mr. Cummins and Joe Barker had conversation on forming a ticket. That is something that Cummins cannot lie about. Right? Now, the conversation broke down because Omen Barker was not prepared to do two of the suggestions. Not only one, he was not prepared to accept any of the suggestions that ANC guys brought forth. The first suggestion was Mr. Barker should back off the race support Cummings. Cummings will select whoever he want to select as the running mate, and they will go to the elections. Bwaka will become the campaign manager to do the endorsement and say, "Oh, I endorse them. Everybody who Joe Bwaka, you vote for them." That was option number one. Option number two was Ome Joe Bwaka will accept to become the vice standard bearer. Or better still, the running mate to Mr. Cummings. Now, the Ome said, I have been vice president for 12 years. If I'm going to be resourcing into government, I am not supposed to go to you as a vice standard bearer. I'm not supposed to be your running mate, because this is a position I've held twice. I ran for it 2 different times. I won it. In 2005, I won as vice president. In 2011, I won as vice president. So in 2023, 2017, I ran to become president. I came second. I am not supposed to go to you who came, 5th place with 7%. I'm not supposed to go with you. And that was how the conversation broke off. Now, if Bwaka had accepted Cummings' proposal to be the vice, standard bearer, I am not of the opinion that Cummings will be speaking out to the public at about this time, branding Joe Bwaka as that old man who ain't got no strength. Although he's saying the truth, Joe Bwaka is old. That is something that nobody can shy away from. Although he's saying the truth that Joe Bwaka got age by all those who wanted to be president. I mean, he's already in his 80s. Technically he's in his 80s. So it is not a secret. But the hypocrisy in the statement is what we're trying to gather. And this is why sometimes I say to people that whatever that is established, not on the principle of ideological similarities, whatever that will be established on mutual, unusual tolerance from an emergency perspective, whatever people organize on the short-term arrangement are things that are not sustainable. We saw that entire configuration of the opposition community in 2018 with the Ure, Bwaka, Cummings, Bromskin, coming together. Later on, the death of Bromskin usher in Yumley. We saw all of the political chemistry from the beginning, and we said this is something that is not sustainable. We said that. Sadly, for our people who are so desperate because they think somebody is in power who should not be in power, they ignore all of the political, indicators who were flagging from the onset, and they went away thinking that in this country, in this modern dispensation of the Liberian political space, that you will have 4 grown-up political parties with 4 grown-up political leaders and several other key partisans who are power tested. Power drunk to some extent, to think that they will accept, to rally forces was the biggest mistake people were making in this country. Today, it is not. The woman said that and say, "Oh, when people are hungry in the town, let's to tell the caller and go to the elder man, the older man in the town, and say because he got experience, so he'll make fun because he experienced." To say that is to say something logical, but in actual fairness, you are not supposed to be saying that because you are. You are hypocritically making the statement you're making. You're saying it out of frustration. You're saying it because Bwaka did not accept your terms and conditions. But you see, we ain't going to say a lot here. And one politician said something that I'm going to be looking at. Why Mr. Bwaka didn't select Emmanuel Nukwe, who ran with him in 2017? Alexa, you want to think about why it did not happen?
We've had a space to actually wonder, because if we go back to 2017, we know exactly how it was, and who was successfully picked as a vice running mate to the former vice president.
Good.
So fast forward to date, to this present moment, a lot of people are actually thinking, because back in the day, of course, there were, some moment where there was an indecision.
Mhm.
So you had a lot of different people who were also different options to be picked. And at about that time, the former vice president had to conclude that, Emmanuel Nugwe was the better option. And now, I know people want to know because that was like an intimate relationship. Imagine you have Oliver as a vice running mate for maybe 5 years back.
Mhm.
So it means there was some sort of an intimate relationship. So it means we would have, moved forward to know exactly what would be our next step, just in different moment where we want to still go as a team.
Sure.
So now a lot of people are still wondering as to why Emmanuel Nugwe did not even his name did not even surface, and he was not even a part of the conversation. He was like very very far away. And it was like really crazy because now that there has been a dynamic where Emmanuel Nugwe is not even supporting the former vice president who was his,
It's
president.
his
Yes.
standard bearer.
So there are a lot of different confused thinkings right now. There are a lot of thoughts. So people are actually wondering like what exactly went wrong and why are we here today? Why do we have different person who was not even an option? The person just surfaced out of the blue.
And that
then-
is what is the situation with Madam Yomli Kanga Lawrence, with Mr. Costa and the rest of the folks,
Right.
including Yuri. Now, when you listen to one Liberty partisan, I mean, I do not subscribe to the words that he used in this clip. And we apologize for whatever profane stuff he will say. We did all we could to get it up to showtime. We tried our best to lower our parts when he's about to use those profane wordings, but he sounded very frustrated. Right? The point is not about Bwaka selecting. All of them are aware. The folks in that arrangement, they were all aware that there is no way that Joe Bwaka would select Yombly and Costa together.
No.
There is no way Joe Bwaka would have selected Yombly, Costa, Delon, or how you call
That's
whatever
not
way
possible.
he would have selected one person from amongst all of the protest team. I mean, I can call them the team of protesters, right? No, but
No, it's fair enough.
no, let's be honest.
It's
That
fair enough.
entire team around, or the whole conversation around the opposition community since 2018, can be equated to a team of protesters. Now, the reason why Costa, Delon, and the rest of the guys are angry, including Mr. Ure, is because in their mind, they would have had some consolation. They would have accepted it. Their anger, would have been pacified to a greater extent had Joe Bwaka made a decision where one of them would be on the ticket.
Yeah,
Because
so the issue was
Mhm.
even if it is not mean like you have Austin, you have Oliver, you have Alexa.
sure,
If it is not
It should somebody from
Alexa,
Freedom.
it should be Austin. If it is not Austin, it should be Oliver.
good.
So that was basically, I guess, the focus point.
Of
Because do not
Costa,
go for someone who
don't
is
go-
considered
don't go
an
out-
outsider.
Don't go outside of the matrix.
Yeah.
For them, they felt betrayed by the papi. They felt, and that's what I'm saying. What fish Cummings got to fry in this thing, because he was not even part of the last meeting.
That's
I mean, allyship that they built, he was not a part of it.
he has been
He already
far,
drew a
far
line.
away
Yeah, he
for
already
a
drew a
long
line
time.
and took the entire CPP, and they were left with the Unity Party.
right.
But the anger the guys are expressing is that, look, why are you going outside of our tag team to select somebody else? It doesn't show any sign of gratitude. In politics, when people do things for you, I mean, life as a whole, when somebody is fortunate to do something for you through the help of God, even if you cannot pay the person back proportionally, from a proportional level, meaning the same thing they gave you, if you're not able to give them the same quality and quantity, you should do something at least to show that you are appreciative of what they've
Yeah,
done for you.
Reciprocation in different ways.
That is exactly what it is. You need to reciprocate whatever good gesture somebody will render to you. In their opinion, Joe Bwaka is not that kind of person. 2017, Emmanuel Nugwe went broke in this country because he bankrolled the entire campaign process. Look, and that's what we keep saying to people. President Weah is not a politician. He's not a politician. He's not a practical African politician, because in his own uniqueness, he is a genius of a politician, because some of the decisions he normally, take as a leader, people tend to criticize them. In the end, you find out the political dividends being realized. And that's why he's so unique in his own particular corner as it relates to how he can do his political negotiations. Nukwe almost went broke in this country. Right? Right after the election, Nukwe was down because he spent all of what he earned behind the Joe Bwaka's campaign. We saw how the 500 notes, were all around the place. The man was speaker now. I mean, at a certain point of the early administration, the last months, they were paying lawmakers in LD. So, bulk of his savings, he brought it out to bankroll the Unity Party campaign. After they lost the elections, the president called Nukwe and said, "My man, you are a good guy. Irrespective of you being selected by VP Bwaka to be the running mate to him in the just ended election, you are a Liberian, you are a son of McGibby County, a fellow man by that matter, and you deserve a job in this country because you are a Liberian. You are my friend. Irrespective of you being a political opponent to me, come and work to the airport." Now, the question I asked about why is, Omen Joe Bwaka in selecting Nukwe is because when Nukwe was offered the job, according to Speaker Nukwe, he went to Mr. Bwaka and said, "Pape, Mr. President has asked that I, James Emmanuel Nukwe, go to the airport to work in the government." Alexa, you want to know what Joe Bwaka told Nukwe? You want to guess? Joe Bwaka told Nukwe, "George Weah is one of us." Hello? Mr. Bwaka told former Speaker Nukwe by then that George Weah is one of us. So if George Weah called you today to say, "Come and serve in this particular position," you should accept it. Go and work for the Liberian people. Now, the point I'm trying to get to is for Unity partisans to have no option in wanting to have beyond Nukwe's involvement with the Weah's administration as a reason for which Bwaka did not go back to somebody who ran their entire campaign, their entire bank account down to bankroll their campaign. Nukwe told us clearly that he went to Mr. Bwaka and told Mr. Bwaka, "President Weah said I'm going to work in your government. Should I do it or not? Should I do it or not?" And Bwaka told him, "Weah is one of us. George Weah is one of us. So if he will invite you today, it is not a bad thing. Go and work. One of us is just as simple. He's not a foreigner. He's not anybody. He is a country boy like you and myself.
Right.
And so when he is inviting you to work in a country government, Nukwe, because you know why? Nukwe and Joe Bwaka introduced Senator Nukwe to this country and Congo politics thing. So that's why Joe Bwaka branded the ticket as the indigenous ticket in 2017. So according to Mr. Nukwe, Bwaka told him that Weah and us are the same. He's one of us. He's a countryman. So go and work for him. So after giving Nukwe the go ahead to work with Mr. President, why didn't you go back to the man to have a conversation? At the moment, there are people in Nukwe's political party who are plotting to distract the decision of Speaker Nukwe for his PUP to support the Weah's administration. There are people in his party being planted by the Joe Bwaka faction because, according to them, they still support Joe Bwaka, and the decision that was made by Speaker Nukwe was hasty, and they are not satisfied. What they were unable to understand is that Nukwe did not go to work in the Weah's government without consulting Bwaka. He went and consulted Bwaka. Bwaka gave him the authorization. Bwaka told him, "My man, go. You have my blessings. George Weah is one of us." In fact, I don't want to say too much. Let Nukwe talk to him, for himself. I want you to listen.
The race for the presidency with him. He did not succeed at the time. When we lost, President Weah phoned me and said, "Mr. Speaker, you are a good man. I want you to come and work with me in my government." I said, "Okay, I'm open to that." After a period of time, he did not hesitate. He appointed me in his government as Director General for the Civil Aviation Authority. There were many people who went to him and said to him, "This job you want to give to Nukwe is job you should give your family." And he told them, "Nukwe is my family." Yes. I worked with him, but before going to the job, I met my then Senator, Ambassador Joshua Yuma Bwaka, and I told him that the president had appointed me. By then, they had exchanged visits. President Weah and his wife visited Ambassador Bwaka, former Vice President Bwaka, at his home. When I visited Ambassador Bwaka, former VP Bwaka, and told him that the president appointed me, he indicated to me in exact words, and I quote, President Weah is one of us. They did not give it to us, they gave it to him. If he sees that we can work together, let's work with him. He did not give it to us, they give it to him. If he sees that we can work together, let's work with him. He indicated to me in exact words, and I quote, President Weah is one of us. And I quote, President Weah is one of us. And I quote, President Weah is one of us. They did not give it to us, they give it to him. If he sees that we can work together, let's work with him.
Okay. I mean, did you listen to that? So Speaker Nuko was clear. He said when he engaged Mr. Bwaka told him that Weah is one of us. They did not give it to us. In the 2017 elections, they gave it to him. And so when he is inviting us to work for the government in the country, let us do it. So Joe Baka gave Nukwe his own, green light to go and serve in the Weah's administration. So there should be no reason why somebody would want to argue that, Baka did not go back to consult Nukwe because Nukwe is still, because Nukwe is working in the administration. In fact, Nukwe made it clear to the entire country that it was Joe Baka who encouraged him to take up the job. After spending all of his money in 2017, got broke, to a greater extent. Out of money, there's somebody who needed to raise money to do other stuff. The president walked to him and gave him an offer. He went to Bwaka and said, "Oh, Pape, although I want money, but I want you to advise me. Should I take the job President Weah want to give me?" Bwaka said, "Weah is one of us." Why didn't he go back? Now, you know why he could not? In his mind, he could not go back because he was playing smart as a politician. He knew that the Nukwe-Bwaka alliance, will be a repetition. The people will say, okay, we beat the ticket before we can still flock it. This cars will be renewed easily. He will need some brand new, legs, to be in the picture. And that is where the whole situation of the CPP arrangement, everything came about. But my take here is the issue that has to do with gratitude. Gratitude is very key in anything you do on this earth, whether in politics, whether in your private lives. It is good for you to show gratitude when one is done. That is what it is. You see what has happened to Mr. Copper? Have you seen what has happened to the former Minister of Post and Telecommunication? This is somebody who became Minister of Post and Telecommunication by the president. The president appointed him because there was a line of communication and partnership between his political party belonging to Prince Johnson and that of the CDC. So the president decided to appoint Copper at the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications. Now, Copper was serving as a minister in the government. No, even if it is their constitutional right to freely associate with whoever you want to associate with, to remain in the government as an active minister where the president tell you to stay or to leave job and go to a rally of a group of people who are planning to remove the government from power through the subsequent election was a total disrespect to the president and an act of ingratitude shown to the highest level. I don't even know whether Joe Baka is going to trust Mr. Copper with appointed position in this country. I don't know. I don't know if Joe Baka, if he will ever become president in this country. I don't know if Joe Baka will ever want to trust Copper Cry or any other politician will ever want to trust Copper Cry with public position, considering the manner of their respect and ingratitude he has shown to Mr. President. I don't know if that will ever happen. To be a sitting minister, not only are you a sitting minister, now you went to a rally of your opponent, of people who are pushing to remove the government from power, and you sat down in that rally where statements were being made against the performance of the government that you worked for. But the president dismissed him yesterday. That's the only thing that I know. He was fired on yesterday. He was dismissed. Was it yesterday or the day before? But Mr. Copper Cry was dismissed. Yeah, he was. So after going to the rally, the president says, "See, you want to go to the rally, I will sack you. When I sack you, then you will get streamed down to go and support Joe Baka and tell people why Joe Baka should become president." Now, his daughter, who is a stalwart of the Unity Party, by the way, she's the current Secretary General, the Deputy Secretary General of the party, wrote on Facebook that, oh, when you sack Copper Cry, Nima people will get vexed. Because Copper Cry was representing the Nima people in the George Weah government. Now, I don't know what kind of mindset are we developing as a country and people? What kind of moral teachings are we passing on to the younger generation? Now, we are having a little over 1 million first-time voters in these elections. We're going to have 1 million plus first-time voters. If we start to have this kind of, terrible opinions being spread out to the younger society, people who are supposed to be educated. Colina Crow, when you go ask her, she will boast of some kind of BSc or some MBA or what kind of degree somewhere. These are people who are supposed to be educated people. They are supposed to know better. You sit down and say, when Copper Cry is dismissed by the president, Nima people will get vexed because the position he sits in, is a position belonging to the Nima people. How do you say that? Why are we tribalizing the politics of the day in the country? This is a terrible path we are treading as a people, and people who are supposed to be educated to stop these things. They are not doing it because they are so freaking desperate for power and thinking when you use desperation, disregarding other sensitive issues that could break the fabrics of the Liberian society, and only pushing for your election and thinking that it is the way to success, you are lying and you are mistaken, because what you are setting forth, what you're setting forth could haunt you. 505. What you're setting forth will haunt you. No, you don't do that. Oh, they want a Nima kind of job. That is totally unfair. But the good thing, the president appointed Wally Sewadona, the former lawmaker from the same Nima. Now, it was carefully done because I know how the president is so cautious, especially in crisis management and other stuff. But what we should stop doing in this country is to limit the way we go on the extreme only because we want power. That's what we should do. We should stop it. It makes no sense. She made out of the big mother Sakopana. What Nima people talking? How Nima people talk when the man who replaced Opana Nima man? So Copper Cry is more Nibayan than Wally Donor, the man whose parents, are the founders of the United Inland Church. And by the way, the United Inland Church of Liberia got their headquarters in Nima. That's a church that got almost 80% of the members being Nibayans. So is Copper Cry more Nibayan than any other Nibayan? But we're not going to say more. We're not going to say a lot on this platform. We already have our guests. We'll take some calls. By 5:05, we'll have Madam Minister in studio. But what we're saying at this moment is for you to show gratitude. When Nukwe was appointed, some people who support the president had issues. They were like, "Oh, Papa, why are you doing this?" Of course, they were right, because that man like Copper Crab, they were cautious about the president's decision to appoint Nukwe. But it has happened at a time where two individuals who benefited from the president's generosity had to show themselves to the president and the Liberian people as compass for moral lessons to be learned. So one of them in Nukwe was able to show gratitude that Mr. President, although I fought you fearlessly in the campaign as the running mate to Bwaka, but you still reached out to me and gave me a job. For this, I'm going to be grateful to you. The other man said, oh, you know what? Prince Joseph myself supported you. We ate a 5 year with you. We used to go to your place. We get some political money. But right now, Joe Bwaka want the money where you bring looking plenty. So if I don't want to be with you again. You stay in power, you go and support the other man without resigning. Even when you want to take it, it's a decision, but at least you resign to show respect. But out of their respect, in your ministerial court, I mean, through the eyes of faith, I can tell that he has a government gasoline slip in your pocket, sitting down at the Joe Bwaka rally to show that, Mr. President, you didn't know what you were doing. I mean, total disrespect. You don't do that. I mean, who's going to trust such an individual? Alexa, this is not funny, but I'm not too sure somebody's going to trust him. But we are out of time, my dear. So yeah, we're just squeezing. We're squeezing few calls, specifically on the Speaker Nukwe situation. You heard him. I mean, he said there is no way that he would have supported any other person because what President Weah did for him.
No, but there's this thing about gratitude. A lot of people, many a times, actually disregard that. Whenever you have a person who looks in your direction, even if you're not in the same line as that person, whenever that person looks in your direction to do something for you, I mean, it goes a long way, Oliver, because imagine, I'm not really sure we'll have had any other president who have done that for Emmanuel Nukwe. No, not when you just came from election and you have someone who was like going back to back with you with numbers and all of the different factors that were involved. So at the end of the day, I think these are things that should definitely pave the way for people who are to show gratitude whenever or kind gestures are done. And it also dishes them from people who are ingrates, because you have a lot of people who are ingrates, like a lot of them. They're all in this government. They're not seditious, they're not supporters of the president. However, he had to do exactly what he thought was right in his wisdom as an individual. Let's disregard the presidency for a bit, because if without the presidency, President George Weah has always been, how he is with, or giving back to people and being kind to people in several different ways that some of his friends or some of his confidants even try to, they imagine like, is this man really usual? Because I'm not sure it will really happen to a lot of people who have such power to do something like that. So I think Emmanuel Nukwe was 100% being, a person who was showing gratitude to the president for going to him and placing him a call after they just got done with election. And I guess he accepted that in good faith, and he just wanted to say thanks. So it's more like a reciprocation but in different way. And I see a lot of people, they're all around saying the president did this, the president did that. Forget easily, the president has appointing power, the president has dismissing power. So you, as a minister, you work at the will and pleasure of the president. If the president wants to dismiss you, of course, he's going to do that. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. Not when even you're showing disrespect openly where everyone is looking at you. It's more like you're trying to make fun of someone. It doesn't make any sense. And if you're someone who has what it takes to be an intelligent person, you wouldn't have to go that extra mile to actually do something, because it doesn't make any sense. We have a lot of people in this government who do not support the president. Does he have issue with that? No, I'm not really sure he has issue with that, because we still have a lot of them on this platform. We've called out a lot of them. Has the president dismissed any of them? No. But you don't have to be disrespectful. You can support whoever you want to support. You don't have to be disrespectful. And I think on his part, that was a disrespect, and it did not really mean well for exactly. And we're talking about integrity that they're are claiming to have. We're talking about all of the good morals they're claiming to have. It actually doesn't say thing in relations to that. So I think that was a very good thing by the president to dismiss him. And I mean, we hope to have a lot of the different things unfold as we move forward. Like seriously, we really hope for that.
Okay. All right. So yes, we're gonna take a few calls. Our minister is in studio. Minister Namesi Kaba is already here. She's gonna be on very shortly. Let's take this quick break. When we come back, we squeeze in just five of the calls to be right back. Yes, let's take this break to be right back.
Endorse the second term bill of President Weah. My party endorse the second term bill of President Weah. Wow. Recently, my party, the People's Liberation Party, endorsed the second term bill of President Weah.
Okay, so that's what it is. You heard it for yourself. Let's squeeze in at least 5 calls, then we'll go directly to Madam Minister Mamesi Kaba, who's going to be in the hot seat here to take more questions relative to the performance of this government, specifically from the angle of the Ministry of Gender. This person, let's hear you. Go ahead. 1 minute. Where do you join us from? What's your name?
I join you from the Queen City.
Oh my God. We missed out on that caller. Let's take this one. Go ahead. Let's hear you. 1 minute.
Good evening, Khan.
Good evening. Let's hear you quickly.
Thank you. This is the voice of Thomas N. Sabo in my capacity as Secretary General of Press and Travel Ghana District.
Go ahead. 1 minute, my man. Once you hear 1 minute, just call your name and move.
Khan, you see, I want person who have an issue with the president when he appointed Emmanuel Nukwe for Nukwe amendment, and I think I'm happy for that. But the issue that has to do with Kuba Kra is just an ungrateful human being. Because you can't be working in your government and go share arrogance. Kuba Kra.
Yeah, but the president dismissed him now.
Yeah, and we still have more of Kuba Kra in this government, waiting to see more.
Okay.
Because you can't get a minister, no innovation to where he's working. Kuba Kra has carried on no program to that ministry. That ministry is dumb, man.
Thank you. We leave you. We take this other person quickly. We'll take the last 4. Let's hear you.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Let's hear you, Chief.
Yeah, my name is Vamuya Fofana, calling from Lofa County, Kolahun District.
Kolahun District, Vamuya Fofana. Let's hear you from Lofa. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. You know, I want to tell the president, thank you for the action taken yesterday. You know, those that put in the government are spoiling our government. He can't be serving as minister. As the way they play on the president, they honor man the president. People saying, oh, it's not good for why the president on fire now. Yeah, we put time for the president to take the action. We not need to kind of put in the government. They will be taking information from there, bringing it to the opposition. But I thank the president, thank you very much for sacking him. I want to tell Emmanuel Nukwe, Honorable Emmanuel Nukwe, welcome back to the party.
Okay.
We all belong to the party. Welcome back. I want to tell the president, safe journey. We wish you safe trip.
Thank you. Thank you very much. He touched almost everything. This person, go ahead. 1 minute.
Good evening, KOK.
Good evening. We take 2 more after you. Let's hear you quickly.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Ibrahim Bala, and I join you guys from Electoral District number 10.
Go ahead, Ibi.
The decision made by the president is a welcoming decision, and I think it's in the best interest of our party and the government in totality. I think the president was not wrong by appointing him because of the political negotiation in 2017 where the NDR supported the CDC in the second round. But the marriage has ended. And for him to be very disrespectful at attending a United Party program when he's not supporting the president during the aspiration and by law as a minister working with pleasure of the president. I think it was very disrespectful to the president.
It was disrespectful to the president. This question, let's hear you. We take the last one.
You okay? How you doing?
We are great, Chief. What's your name? Where you join us from?
My name is Nolai Kamara.
Go ahead, Kamara. Let's hear you.
Okay. We still get some element in this government that want to embarrass us. So sooner is better. You know, the lack of Musa Din. You know, they don't want to be around. The president need to be drastic on those people. That election every time, yeah, people can honor my people anytime. And you understand it? Look at what Papa Cross did the last time.
Okay.
How when the president appoint you first of all, you go in open, you go and go to, you know, it was just something that I don't know what it is.
Thank you.
But I applaud the president for the decision taking. Thank you also.
Thank you. I also appreciate you for calling. Let's take the last international person quickly, then we go take our break. Go ahead, madam. What's your name?
My name is Joyce. I'm calling from Minnesota.
Joyce, go ahead from Minnesota.
I just come to say congratulations, you're a man. You took Florida, you're a man. So congratulations.
That issue. Thank you. That issue. We take this quick break to be right back. Okay, so welcome back to the program Freedom Hub on 87.9. This is the official voice of Freedom Communications Incorporated. My name is Khan Oliver Khan. I'm here with Princess Alexa Vanja Colley. Our guest is Madam Minister Mamesi Kaba. Why are you laughing?
Was with odd titles.
Okay, so the minister is in studio. I do not choose the kind of ministers. A minister is a minister, assistant minister, deputy minister, minister proper. There is something called minister, and so Minister Kaba, it is our honor to welcome you on Freedom Hub. This should be your second official appearance. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Oliver, and good afternoon to your co-host. Good afternoon to the listening audience. It is a pleasure being on your platform. And I just want to say thank you to you guys. I am humbled by the invitation to be here this evening. I look forward to a fruit in the interest of Liberia and the people of Liberia.
Okay. You look forward to a very, very humble, fruitful conversation. I added humble because I know Alexa is going to have a humble conversation today. But let's yeah. So
what is that supposed to be?
You are a known figure in the Liberian media, in the civil society sector, and the intellectual space of our country. When you rose to prominence as a result of your fearless participation, when women could dare not venture into the business of talk show, radio phoning in programs, and the name Mamesi Kaba will always keep ringing from Dole community and Madam Salif. This is not fair. This is not fair. You're left with roughly 5 more months to, your stay in government. That is if the Liberian people will decide to re-elect your boss, the president. And maybe you could go to another position or retain your current position. How is it?
Well, it is great. I am very optimistic that the Liberian people will repose their confidence in the president once again, based on tangibles, and not just words, and to reflect on some of the achievements this government has made.
We'll go to the achievement. I'm asking you a personal question. You've been in government for 5 years plus some months. You got less than 4 months to the end of this first term. The Liberian people will decide whether the term is going to be extended or not. Your personal feelings, are you scared? What is it from your angle?
Well, I am not scared. I am very optimistic with the concerted effort that have been made by Liberians that have been able to serve in government. I can see a result for which the president is going to be re-elected. And let's be frank, for me, I am a patriot, and this is no display of arrogance. To give my service to my country does not only have to be in government. President Weah could choose to win. Sorry, President Weah could win and choose not to nominate me or reappoint me. But it still doesn't change the fact that I am a Liberian. I should contribute to the rebuilding of this nation, and I should support the president because he is a man who loves this country. He means well for Liberia and Liberians. So for me, my goal is not just about me reoccupying the position that I occupied currently.
Okay.
It is all about re-electing the president so that he can do more things for our Liberian people. Because over the years, it has just been about theory. People have written a lot of books, a lot of policies on the book, and the trickle-down effect
Some with
of
blueprints.
those policies have not been felt.
Okay.
So we are talking about the trickle-down effect being felt by the people, the Liberian people. So obviously, to respond to the question, I am very optimistic and I am not complacent. I am ready to campaign for the president. I am ready to spread the message of the good things his government has been able to do in 6 years. And I believe strongly the Liberian people know what they want and they know what is good for them because of what we are seeing, the tangibles we can see right now, not talking about. Because in the past, we were able to talk about a lot of good things, but we could not see those good things. In this time, in this regime, we can see all the things that have been talked about.
Okay, this administration, the achievements are visible, unlike the other administration, like you just said. Now, for us to talk more about what this government was able to achieve, it will mean discussing the different sectors. When you were called up by the president to help him steer the affairs of this country, he sent you to the Ministry of Gender. We will want to know the status of the Liberian people with reference to gender sensitive issues. And I know there where Alexa is going to bump into the rest of the questioning.
Well, that's a good one.
Where are we?
Firstly, before I can delve into that is that I have to inform you that I am the Assistant Minister for Administration.
Good.
I'm in the administrative segment of the ministry, but we have been in the background supporting the departments of gender and children and social protection.
Sure.
Now, normally when people talk about gender, a lot of people think about rape, which is very cogent. That's one of the sensitive issues that people think about. Even though we look at different sexual and gender-based violence cases, like sexual exploitation and so on, but the ministry has been able to do a lot of things. You may recall the president declared rape as a national emergency, and then the ministerial task force was formulated.
Okay.
And after that, it gave birth to the SGBV task force, the sexual and gender-based violence task force that has been working. And the task force has been able to establish a call center that is 116 when somebody gets raped. Raped, you can be able to call the hotline or the call center so that we can expeditiously respond to whatever the situation is. And then there's a chain of command as it relates to steps that should be taken when a child is raped. So we also have our social workers in the different communities, in the counties. We have the coordinators, the county coordinators in the different counties, and there have been some logistics being distributed among them. And also the president was able to instruct his finance minister to purchase DNA machine, because one of the issues we've had is the issue of the justice system speeding the process of justice, as it relates to rape, bringing the perpetrator to book.
Okay.
In order to do that, many times perpetrators would deny raping a child or raping anyone. I don't like to focus only on child when it comes to rape, because once a woman does not consent and there is a forceful penetration, it's considered rape. So the DNA machine will be able to expedite the evidence, to be able to provide the evidence as to whether the child was raped and as to whether the doer is actually the doer of the act, and that helps to speed all the court process. So there have been a lot of relationship being strengthened, especially between the police and the Ministry of Gender. So yes, those departments have been doing well, and we have been supporting them in the financial aspect, the procurement aspect, and so on.
Okay, I mean, Alexa is going to come in, although you are not the official spokesperson of the entity. Let it be clear.
And let me make it clear that I'm not
exactly.
officially speaking on behalf of the ministry.
Good.
Maybe if you had a spokesperson or
Yeah.
an authorized person, maybe you will
You can
get
phone
a lot
in,
of
maybe.
things.
Good. But since
Right.
since you are the minister, you could be privy to
The assistant
Yeah,
minister.
the assistant minister.
Thank you.
You could have some of the other information available unto you now. Where we will reference to, children selling in the streets. I remember you're one person who criticized that under the Ellings administration. Even if you did not make a phone call with reference to this effect, but there were times people will go and champion those issues, and you will call and support them. That it was not a decent thing. The kids are in school, and the rest of them between the cars, amongst moving vehicles and selling snacks and so forth. Now, what have you gathered as an assistant minister, as an approach by this government, specifically the Ministry of Gender, in addressing it? Because as we're speaking on this platform right now, at Boma, Viatown, right here at Johnson Street, the kids, school going age, they're still handling popcorns, tissues, napkins, and rest of it, to vehicles passing by. What have you done? What have you done?
So firstly, let me address the issue where you referenced my days in advocacy. So my point of argument was that the then superintendent of Masurada County, Madam Pan, decided to arrest parents who sent their children to sell in the street.
Okay.
And I felt that it was not appropriate in as much as we didn't want children to be in the street, because I was once in the street as a child. It's not like my parents wanted to send me to the street to sell.
Okay.
But you have to look at different factors and different factors, and those factors, from those factors, you can come up with different perspectives. So, and one of the things that needs to be addressed is the art of mechanism being put in place to have programs for these kids.
Okay.
So you can't just grab the kids from the street, incarcerate the parents. What do you do with the kids?
So by then, what
so
did
you
you
allow them? So why I
what did
actually
you recommend by
recommended
then?
in the past was to have a program, proper program. So if you have a child from the street, the child who sells in the street, and you want to take that child from the parent, or the parents. I'm saying parents because there are some single mothers.
Sure.
So you don't want to carry the child back, because if you carry the child back, the mother is still a poor woman.
Okay.
The parents are still poor. They're still gonna send that child out street maybe after a month. But then let's have a program wherein the government has a funding, be able to empower the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection.
Okay.
When these children are taken from the street, we can be able to send them to school, because it's not about having them kept at a place.
Sure.
Be able to feed them, be able to train them, send them to school, and rehabilitate them.
Sure.
Because it's psychological.
So you made all of these recommendations as a civil
so
society
I'm saying
actor.
that was my point.
Sure.
And even now.
So when you came to government, what did you advance to the senior ministers at your ministry?
Well, in senior management meeting, we have these conversations, we make recommendations, but you have to understand that these things don't work just verbally. They work with the available resources. That's why
Did you consider that when you were in advocacy? Did you consider that the gender minister by then and the whole entire team will have difficulties with getting the support and whatever when you made the recommendation?
I did consider that, and that's why I said it was premature to have started to get the children from the street when there's no proper program in place. So yes, I did consider that.
It's been 5 years now.
I knew there were not available resources to do that.
Okay.
So they could re-strategize and do something else. And that is why my argument at the time was not just directed at the gender ministry, but also at the national legislature.
Sure.
So normally we go to the legislature, defend our budget. At the end of the day, nothing happens.
Okay.
And we say the same thing. So when you sum up us, we get to the legislature or our legislators, we let them know that we have the will to do these things. But they are not things that can be done verbally. We have to be empowered.
Okay.
Financially, the budget has to be built in a way that we will be able to address these situations.
Okay.
Sometimes what happens is that those assistants and deputy ministers that are responsible for these things, we have to use their own resources. Is it enough? It's good, but is it enough? No. You cannot address the situation of getting kids from the street with just one or two children. It's not going to work.
Okay.
So you have to look at it from a holistic point of view. And in looking at it from a holistic point of view, it requires available resources.
Okay. So
you as a journalist and myself, I think we all can add our voices to the many voices and prevail on the legislature to ensure that there's a reasonable budgetary allotment for us so that we can be able to implement these different programs. We have the policy on the board, we have the laws, how we want to deal with these different issues. But these issues cannot be dealt with by just coming to sit on the radio or talk about it.
The Ministry of Gender is one of those government entities that will normally attract a lot of these foreign partners. For example, the USAID, UNDP, the rest of the other UN Women. What do you tell them in terms of priorities? Because from where we look, the national government cannot fund this very special project, because to have the kids removed from the street is one thing that should be prioritized by the entity. Now, what do you take to the partners? Because they're the ones
partners who have priorities. Okay. You have to understand that.
So you are on the receiving end. Have you done a lot more to convince them?
Of course, those in the departments concerned have been raising these issues.
Okay.
They have technicians that have been making proposals. But remember, the donor could help based on their interest sometimes. And there are a lot of programs, other programs, because the Ministry of Gender does not only deal with getting kids from the street. There are different issues that the Ministry of Gender deals with. And depending on what the partner interest is, and within your program, if that meets the interest of the partner supports your program based on that.
Okay, now let's go. Alexa, you want to punch into the gender issue before we go political?
I don't like how you keep talking about gender issue,
But you can't keep making this thing long.
Yeah,
unless I is open to discussing whatever conversation, and not just the gender issue.
You.
So I wouldn't allow you putting her in the gender box and feel like she's only capable of discussing gender issues. She can discuss a wide range of issues, and she must be given the opportunity to discuss wide range of issues.
You have to stop
that.
You have to stop. Anyway, so there are a lot of different issues we have in country, like seriously, and it's been 5 years, some months. We've had a lot of different issues with gender. We've had social protection issue as well, because the Ministry of Gender, I guess, a lot of times we have citizens, and I think Oliver is one of the persons who always just people just focus on gender, and it's just with rape, and mostly we focus on females, which is also important. But I think that is like a space that helps a lot of people, social protection. You also have young boys who will be sexually assaulted as well. And over the period, we've had a lot of these different cases just focused on females. So I mean, you are not the official spokesperson, and of course you're from the administrative angle. But how would you grade the Ministry of Gender for just 5 years, some months? How well have you done with all of the existing issues we have? I mean, prior to the ascendancy of the minister we have now at the Ministry of Gender, and how exactly did you guys handle all of the different issues that you had, and where are we now in terms of these different issues?
So regarding the issue of gender, because gender is not just about women, but then if you look at Liberia, you look at the statistics, most of these gender issues affect women. For example, rape, sexual exploitation, you can name them. Women are most often the ones that are being victimized.
Okay.
The issue with men, when men are sodomized and it is brought to the attention of the Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Gender equally intervenes. But one of the things you have to understand is that in Liberia, it's not obvious for a man to report sexual abuse cases, abuses to the police, even to the Ministry of Gender, because of this issue of re-victimization. So this person is being victimized, but if he tells another man and he says to him in a simple Liberian English, "My man, you got feel like you can rape you, go sit down one place."
Whole man like you.
So whole man like you. So you re-victimizing the victims, the victim or the victims. So you have to understand that these people, because of many, they don't complain. So we look at cases that have been brought to our attention, looking at where we've reached with the little resources. If you do a comparative analysis between this regime and the past regime, you come to realize the past regime had more support than this regime. And I wouldn't want to delve into why not, but that's just what it is. And we have been able to succeed as it relates to awareness. That is why everywhere you hear people talk about rape, because people have been informed, people have been educated about the importance of reporting rape cases, that when a child is raped, it should not be kept. People should complain. So people are already cognizant of how important it is to report rape cases. And you hearing it all around is because we succeeded in the aspect of awareness. We have been able to send a message out there, communicate to the people in the communities that when a child is raped, it's not a family matter. Nobody rapes a child, and do not sit there and allow it to go like that. So yes, I think we've succeeded in that aspect of awareness.
And the social protection aspect as well. You have a lot of kids who are abandoned daily, and you also have also women who are abandoned when they're in a space of toxic relationship and all of those different things. And I guess the Ministry of Gender actually gets in whenever you have these different issues surrounding the well-being of women, the well-being of children, especially when it comes to abandonment. And we've had a lot of these cases. But like you said, our society focuses mostly on sexual violence cases because I mean, at the end of the day, you have women who are mostly victimized by those different acts. So the Ministry of Gender, was there a point in time where you had to organize maybe an initiative to actually go out there and also talk about the abandonment of children, because you have people who are also victims of such circumstances? Whenever you have you have a father and your father has abandoned you, have a mother and your mother has abandoned you. At the end of the day, you have some of the kids who are even like, listen to Oliver, they don't have parents though. Their parents are alive, yet they're abandoned by their parents. So where does the Ministry of Gender actually come in to actually sort out these different issues with abandonment?
So I wouldn't want to go deep into that because it doesn't fall under within my authority.
Yeah.
But I can tell you for sure that I know that there are programs and there have been interventions in that regard. We have the personal support for parents who abandon the kid as it relates to support and support, not just financially, but
moral
mentally.
support. Yeah.
Mental support is very important too. We have that. We have family preservation, mediation between families or among families, when there are issues. So they have the different divisions within the ministry. But like I said, I wouldn't want to go deep into that because I'm not in those departments. But yeah, these are common things that happen. So yes, I'm aware of them because most times people will come to me and I will have to refer them to the different divisions within the two departments.
So with regards to just grading the ministry, as just be honest, right? Let's forget about the fact that
I've always been honest.
Of course, let's forget the fact that you are an assistant minister of Ministry of Gender. So if you're going to have an honest grading point from just trying to reconcile the past administration, the Ministry of Gender you had and the one you have today, if you're going to grade exactly how far they've come with regards to being proactive in handling these different cases that affect people within society, I mean, how are you going to grade your ministry?
Well, I wouldn't want to do that right now because I don't have the authority to do that.
No, but it is an unofficial grading stuff.
I cannot do that because it'll be unrealistic.
Okay.
You have to look at different factors.
Right.
You have to look at the data. You have to look at how many rape cases occurred then, what methods were used to handle those cases, to address those cases, how were they resolved, and what methods have been used now. So I cannot sit there verbally and politicize it. I would be speaking from a very unrealistic background. But all I can say to you is that we are making frantic effort to ensure that we address the issue with sexual and gender-based violence in Liberia.
Okay, away from the Ministry of Gender, let's go to other political issues. We're in 2023.
Oliver,
in
2017
to Nimba County, you were fearless. Mamesi Kaba is somebody who everybody knew, actively involved in the campaign. Your campaign activities led you to marriage with Senator Prince Yomi Johnson. You are still a seditian.
And I'll always be a seditian. If I'm leaving CDC, I'm not going to join a political party. Maybe I have to establish my own party.
What has happened?
What do you mean?
What has happened to the relationship? Is the CDC prepared for what has happened? Senator Johnson supporting Omen Joe Bwaka. We saw him at the endorsement of, at the vice tender bearer peak of Kong. He's no longer on your team. This is somebody who relied on, heavily in Nimba County to pull the tricks. What is the CDC going to do from your angle as a seditian?
Firstly, you have to understand this government is a government of tolerance.
Okay.
The government respects the views, the opinions, and the rights of every Liberian to choose which political side.
In this one, he's
they
not.
want
He's not just an ordinary Liberian. This is somebody who helped you
I
win
said
Nimba County.
every Liberian.
Okay.
He is a Liberian.
Good.
Every Liberian. So you have to understand every. And Senator Johnson is a Liberian.
Good.
He was never coerced to join us.
Okay.
He joined us at will and pleasure. And now that he had
Did you
chosen-
promise him something when he was joining?
May I please put on this note first? There are people listening. I think it's important when you ask a question, then we conclude on that and you ask another question so that we cannot leave the topic unexplained and jumping into another one.
Let's proceed.
I know this is the start of the interview, but for the sake of the audience, it's important to explain. So we respect the decision by Senator Johnson to turn his political lens at another place.
Okay.
We respect that, and we're going to protect every political party that we have been doing over the years. And the question about how we're going to manage with Nimba. So you have to understand the dynamics has changed.
Well, what went wrong? I mean, are Liberians not supposed to know what went wrong?
Let's address what's going to happen in Nimba.
No, but I mean, the people want to know what went wrong in the first place.
No, you have to.
Did you promise the man something you did not give him?
You should have asked what has happened, then to ask how is Nimba going to be. So let me discuss how is Nimba going to be.
I said, how are you?
So
how are you receiving his
the
departure?
dynamics have changed in Nimba. When we came as a political party that has not taken power. We were not the ruling party at it. We intervened differently. At this point, as a government, we have been able to reach in different counties with our developmental initiatives. The people of Nimba are not ungrateful because of the work we've been able to do in Nimba County. And our work for us, we have more number in Nimba than before. Also, you have to understand that with the support given to Mr. Boakai, you cannot be very equivocal to think that Nimba is going to be turned over to him because there are a lot of factors that need to be taken into consideration. Especially with one of their sons, in person of Councillor Gonglo, he is contesting for the presidency. You know, Prince Johnson is not contesting for the presidency. Prince Johnson being on the ballot box and as a presidential candidate and not being there, those are two different things. Another thing is, would the people not vote for their son? No, they're going to vote for him. So the vote's going to be divided. While the CDC has a consistent vote in Nimba because of our own developmental initiatives and the issue of adequate distribution of our wealth reaching to the different counties, we want to believe strongly that what we've done in the different counties and Nimba is no exception. Is going to speak for us. So we are not worried. We are not.
You're not worried about the absence of Senator Johnson on your campaign team in 2023. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I said.
I mean, so I want to go back. I'm tempted to keep going back to this question. What actually happened? Why didn't you maintain the relationship between you and Senator Johnson? I mean, did you hold your part of the deal? There are rumors that you did not. I mean, at a certain point in time, you started to fall in upholding your own portion of the agreement. Well, did that happen?
I would appreciate if you can contextualize what happened to the agreement. Because if you say what happened to the agreement, did you people not do this, not do that? But there's something you
so there are different clauses based on the different speculations we've had where when Prince Johnson actually came over to the CDC to support, he had several clauses where you were supposed to do this just in case my support helps you win the election. Maybe with regards to jobs, with regards to financial support that should be going to the county, or with regards to people who will be appointed or nominated by the president, they should have approval from me. So that's
really?
Yeah. So that's one of the speculations that we've had. So with regards to that, what exactly went wrong? Was the clause not actually agreed upon? Or was there a breach in, the different agreements that were made?
In summary, were you supposed to appoint a lot of people from Nimba County?
So I wouldn't want to base my conversation on speculations. I would just say to you, this country is a country of law. The Constitution supports every Liberian to associate and disassociate from political parties, political movements. So Senator Johnson had just utilized his political rights to move to another place. So I cannot tell you something happened except he comes out to say something happened.
Okay.
I just want to believe that he's utilizing his right to affiliate and not to affiliate.
Okay.
And what was the last question you just asked? Are we supposed to appoint more people from NIMBA?
NIMBA.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think a particular county should have preferential treatment. Every county should be treated equally, because the Constitution says every Liberian is equal and must be treated equally. So NIMBA, Lofa, from the perspective of where one comes from. So I'm from Lofa. I can choose to say I want more people to be appointed from Lofa. It's just my opinion because my love for my county. But the truth is, it's not constitutional.
Okay.
No one county should oversee any other county by any means or any favor. No one country by constitution should give favor by any certain president, than any other county.
Okay.
So every county should be treated equally. And I know the people in NIMBA are not thinking that
So,
way.
so to the best of your knowledge, there was never a conversation held between you and PYJ in 2017 that you will give most of the jobs to his kinsmen?
Honestly, I wasn't part of conversation
Okay.
that was held. So it will be disingenuous on my part to come and give you a conversation.
That's fair enough.
When
Fair
I wasn't
enough.
part of any conversation.
That is 100%
Fair
fair enough. Now, let's move over to the political, landscape.
How we can look at it.
The old man is coming back at President Weah.
Which are you talking about?
Old man Joe Boakai
Okay.
recently selected Mr. Jeremiah Kun, an influential Nimbayan, currently the senator of Nimba County,
Did you say influencer?
to win a senatorial position in the county.
No. How do you win that?
No, to win. No, I mean you will tell me, but mine.
No, you tell me because you're using a phrase, influential.
I mean,
Can you give me his track record?
So Ambassador Boakai selected Mr. Jeremiah
Jeremiah
Kun,
Kun.
an influential Nimbayan who is now the senator of
Can you
Nimba
give me
County.
his track record?
He has won the elections in Ganta on several occasions and became the senator of the conversation. The old man made a decision. He's getting prepped up for the elections. President Weah is going back to the election with Madam Vice President. Mr. Cummings is yet to make a political decision as to who will be selected as his running mate. Where do we stand? Beyond politics, beyond being too optimistic about your victory, you want to be practical about.
No, but I told you I'm not going to be complacent.
Okay.
In as much as I feel very confident about the re-election of President Weah.
Okay.
I'm not going to be complacent.
How view the ticket? Some of your partisans are celebrating. They think it is a weaker ticket. Your opinion as a practical politician.
Well, that is not my choice of words. I'm not going to say it's a weak ticket or it's a strong ticket.
Okay.
But I'm going to look at different debates around the ticket. And before I do that, I would like to do a comparative analysis between my vice standard bearer and the vice standard bearer of the Unity Party.
Okay.
I can say to you, I have a stronger and a better vice standard bearer compared to the Unity Party.
Okay.
My vice standard bearer is very educated academically. She has very good credential. I don't know about Mr. Kun.
Okay.
Educational credential. I don't know about
You
that.
don't know about him, but you place him. You did not put up a candidate against him in Nimba.
But we were not into academic competition at the time.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I hope you understand.
No,
that.
go ahead.
Yeah. So another thing is my vice standard bearer is a fit. She has been able to inspire a lot of young women.
Isn't that obvious? She's a female though.
She has been able to inspire a lot of young women.
Should we appreciate
She
a
has been
female
able
for
she has
championing
been
women
able to
cause?
She has
For
been
second.
able to formulate programs that has helped to elevate women, young women, and be able to create the enabling environment for these young women to actualize their goals of becoming leaders of the society. And she has been a strong woman in the vanguard of advocating for equal opportunity for women.
Okay.
Also, she is a seasoned politician.
Okay.
I don't see the qualities in the vice standard bearer of the Unity Party.
Because he's not a woman. All the things you just listed are things that your vice president or vice presidential candidate is involved with because she's a female.
Is she the only woman? Do you know how many women have resources,
Okay.
financial resources,
Mhm.
and they are not doing what she has been doing.
Okay.
She started to do these things even before she became senator.
Okay.
And now vice president.
Mhm.
So to tell you, she has been in the vanguard of doing these things over the years.
So to you, they are not equal, and they do not carry the same political weight.
No, what I know about the big brother,
Mhm.
what's his name?
Jeremiah Cohen.
Honorable Cohen. What I know about him is, sorry, I'm not, because he's not, with no disrespect, he's not one of the popular politicians in Liberia.
Okay.
So if I forget his name,
Although the CDC did not put
It's
up a
not a
candidate in
disrespect.
Nimba because of him, but he's not popular. Let's go ahead.
no, but the thing is, you have to understand
Uh-huh.
in political agreements, there
Mhm.
are bargaining.
So you went to an agreement with somebody who is not known.
Was he who went to agreement with? And yes, we can do
Oh.
because the CDC has produced, have made a lot of unknown people known.
Okay.
So this is one of our goals. This is one of our
So to the extent that he became
attributes.
senator, he's
This is one of
he's
our
yet unknown to
attributes.
you.
No, when somebody say unknown, contextualize it.
Mhm.
We're talking about the Liberian context.
Okay.
You can be known in your country, but you're not knowing Liberia.
Okay.
So you need to understand that.
Mhm.
KOK could be knowing Monserrata, but he's not known everywhere in Liberia.
Okay.
So he's not well known.
Mhm.
Somebody can say he's not well known. But if you say George Weah, if you go to every county, everyone knows George Weah is
So
the
if
president.
you said Joel Howard
He's well
Taylor.
known. If you say Joel Howard Taylor, she's well known.
Okay.
Even if you say Senator Johnson, he's well known.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Doing that comparative analysis, of course, it's not. Being well known in your county and your district, you cannot rely on that to win presidency in Liberia.
Okay.
So that is my context for which I said that he is not very known compared to regular politicians that are known
Okay.
based on their own work towards the society. Another thing I would like to look at on with that ticket is the issue of betrayal
Betrayal.
and desperation.
Okay.
Whoever decides to do anything just to get in power can do anything to maintain power.
Let's focus on betrayal. Let's start with it.
No, I have to lay the premise. I'm a student of politics. I
Okay.
don't just speak to the issue, I have to lay premise.
Go ahead.
And that was just the premise.
Uh-huh.
Now look at the betrayal. After the 2017 election, the NIM Unity Party had no space in our corridor based on bad governance
Okay.
that was practiced by the Unity Party-led government. The issue of squandering opportunities, the issue of signing 68 concession agreements and just 2 up to standard, the issue of the Global Witness report that indicted a lot of public figures in Liberia and nothing happened about it, the inadequate distribution of our wealth with the huge attention that was being drawn to Liberia, with the huge resources we have, and the trickle-down effect of the distribution of those resources could not be felt, the issue of nepotism, the issue of neglecting democracy, haunting the media, radio stations were being closed, and that fresh memory was still in the minds of the people. There were nowhere in the corridor that Unity Party could surface.
Okay.
It took the 3 political parties to rescue the rescuers.
Okay.
And that is the NC, the Liberty Party, and the ALP. And it is very simple. We can say anything to Unity Party because Unity Party has taken power. We know their ability to lead. So we could judge them, we could grade them based on what they've done.
Okay.
But not the Liberty Party. The Liberty Party has not been in power. The ANC are not being in power.
Similarly with
the
the
ALP
ALP.
has not been. So at that point, those people could tell you, you cannot judge us like this except you give us the opportunity. So they were able to use those people to gain the necessary attention they needed.
Okay.
Now they reached at a stage where Uncle Joe, which is my uncle, and I respect him a lot, took the chairmanship and the CBB collapsed. The CBB dissolved.
Okay.
Somehow, because I'm told the CBB part 2 is still ongoing.
Yeah.
So that questions his leadership ability.
Okay.
Because you have the 3 other leaders who took the chairmanship and everything was okay. But when he took over, everything got out of hand.
Okay.
That questions his leadership. Now, the Liberty Party got divided. ANC went and said, the collaborating political parties still exist. We don't believe that these parties should be able to leave because they signed up to an agreement. They went to court. The court said, we have the right to disassociate, to associate and disassociate.
Sure.
So those people were able to leave the United Party, the ANC, and part of the, not the ANC, the ALP, and part of the Liberty Party was able to leave. And there was a conflict between the two segments, the Musa Berete segment and the Kanga Madam Lawrence segment. And then she stood by him. They stood by Uncle Joe. They went to places, political rally, and she was assured, allegedly.
She was assured.
Yeah.
Allegedly, she was assured, allegedly, of the vice presidential position, rather. And all of a sudden, reaching the point to pick a candidate, and in less than 2 months, you chose someone else.
And you call that betrayal.
Betrayal and lack of leadership.
Okay.
Because if you trace the record of Senator Johnson, he has been supporting other people without making it a demand to have a vice standard bearer. So because he knew that these people are so desperate, and he said, okay, since you are desperate, I will come up with an option. So as soon as he said, choose this, if you are a good leader, you will send him and say, if you want to support me, if you think I have the qualities to make Liberia a better place, support me without coming up with unrealistic suggestion.
Okay.
But because they are so desperate, they feel that by all means they should come back to power. They can do anything to come back to power. So the political parties like the ALP and the Liberty Party, and they have a Liberty Party, were betrayed for no reason apart from desperation.
And the layman out there is asking, what fish do you have to fry in something that...
So let me say this to you, like I said yesterday on the other radio station, in simple Liberian English. We're in United Party, not color speech.
Okay.
One thing you need to understand, God forbid, in the worst case scenario,
but Joe Baga selected
250 million times. When that ticket wins, you and myself will have no option but to obey and respect them as our leader.
Sure.
So it is important to scrutinize who is coming, who is saying he or she wants to contest to be our leader. It becomes everyone's business.
Okay.
If it was about people choosing among their family members, you can tell me it's not my business.
Okay.
But it is my business.
Okay.
It is my prerogative. And I have to talk about this. Then I look at another aspect. I have dealt with the
betrayal,
so you talk about
desperation as well.
Now,
so I want to talk about the gender aspect.
Okay.
In this dispensation, whoever doesn't regard gender sensitivity does not deserve any
do you
space.
think the voters care about that?
Oh, the voters do.
Okay.
The voters do.
Are you sure?
I am a woman. I don't want to have a leadership that does not represent my gender.
There are too many,
for so long,
for
so long, women have been marginalized, especially when you trace the historicity of women in Liberia. You come to realize that we were marginalized in so many ways. We were denied of our voting rights. We were denied of being voted for. We were being pushed in the back, and so many things.
And
We were denied of going to
you
school.
think that the gender issue is going to play?
This is a dispensation where we've reached an era, the world has evolved, where women and men have to sit on the decision-making table to make a better decision for a better society. Having a ticket that does not represent my gender, I don't feel comfortable with that ticket. And not just me, more women out there do not see themselves in the ticket. Liberia being a country that sets a record of producing the first female president in Africa. And if we cannot recognize gender sensitivity, then what are we doing?
I mean,
progressing?
What's giving you?
Are we progressing?
What's giving you the impression that one of the reasons why that ticket could be rejected is on the basis of gender sensitivity? When there are elections we can point to where you have female participation and the very voters, most of whom are females, rejected their own
presidential election.
No, I mean election is election.
So
in the country.
So at this point,
so I could tell you about
at this point. Let's focus on the presidency. I'm not discussing representative elections.
Okay,
those are different factors. We are discussing the state.
Okay,
where when there are issues that are affecting women, they can be able to reach out to their fellow women.
Okay,
a man can implement issues that affect women, but a man does not understand what affects a woman compared to a woman.
Okay,
we understand our issues.
So you think it's going to play out?
So I believe strongly that women do not see themselves in the ticket.
Okay,
they are not going to be a part of that ticket. They are not going to vote for that ticket. They will vote for my ticket because my ticket is balanced. We have gender sensitivity.
Okay.
Then I look at the final thing. I know there are a lot of things about the ticket, but in final, I look at independence.
Okay.
My vice standard bearer makes independent decision. Unlike the standard bearer of the Union Party, who is allegedly being remote controlled by Senator Johnson.
You think so?
Yes. based on everything we've seen around here. You think he was chosen because of his name?
Is it because he did not choose somebody you wanted him to choose?
Johnson, no. It's because of Senator Johnson. So he dances to the tune of Senator Johnson. So whatever Senator
Johnson, it is his business.
So he doesn't. No, it's not a business.
He's not a standard bearer of your party.
It is Liberia's business. So they're the people who did not like George Weah, President Weah, when his convoy is coming.
Do they interfere with what he's doing
hold on.
At his party?
When they are on the road and his convoy is coming, they park off the road. They don't have option. Even if they can close their eyes and cry,
in that case,
they have to park.
In that
so
case,
I am saying to you, it is important to raise these cogent issues so that tomorrow it doesn't happen and then it becomes something that chokes everyone, because at that point we don't have a history of impeaching president and vice president in recent history. We don't have a history of removing people in that category. So the truth is, this is the moment we have to let people understand it's not about which party you come from. It's about Liberia, because whoever becomes president of this country is our president, whether you like the person. That's why I've always said to people, it is not about being a partisan of the United Party or being a partisan of Liberty Party. At this point, you have to understand you have a president who is George Weah. Majority voted for, he is your president. So the same way in a worst case scenario, oh God, it did not happen. In a worst case scenario, if this is something that could happen, it's not going to be a CDC thing. It's going to be a Liberia thing. So these are issues. And as a young woman, because I support the CDC, does not deny me of the right to speak my mind and to see myself in the leadership, because I have to be inspired by the leadership. I could want to be a president tomorrow. If I cannot see a woman becoming a vice standard bearer who leads to become your president, what is my hope? What is the hope of a young child from that slum community that she could think that if this woman can be a vice standard bearer, I too can be a vice standard bearer? What happens to the children that are going to be born at that moment if they will become president, and vice president in this country? They will feel like it is not the era of a woman to become a vice standard bearer. So the issue of gender should be taken seriously. The issue of independence, because if the vice president cannot make some decision, one money could be manipulated and you could overthrow the president. And that could be a serious problem. So independence is important.
And manipulated by whom? Do you have a suspect?
By a godfather. By a godfather.
Is that godfather Senator Johnson?
No, I'm just saying, if Oliver is not independent, if he can be remote controlled by Alexa, Alexa can use him to do
anything.
So let's be practical about the current situation.
I'm being very practical.
So
I'm saying he's not independent.
You think Kun would not be independent?
No, I'm not thinking that he's not going to be independent. I say he's not independent.
He's not independent.
Yeah, he's not.
He could be by his political godfather.
Of course he could. Yes.
And you think electing Kun will see Prince Johnson decide the fate
of
the country?
No, coming to that aspect, that's the deceitful aspect. So the ticket comes with deceit. And I said it yesterday. You may have your problem with this government, maybe based on the speed you wanted to see things working, and may not be on that speed. Those we are working. But don't make a mistake. You have to understand, this is a clear sign that these people are very dishonest. When you give them the opportunity to come back, they will do more than what they are speaking against. Because these are the same people who condemn the CDC-led government for working with Senator Johnson. They condemn us on grounds that Honorable Johnson or Senator Johnson is a warlord, is a sanctioned politician, and we are working with them. It means we are corrupt. We are making business with them. And they kept reminding us of the American embassy's statement of anyone who works with the sanctioned official. They kept reminding us. But at this point, they are in bed with Senator Johnson. Is he not sanctioned anymore? Is he not the person they claim he was? So if they can tell
they
us,
also wanted you to establish the war crimes code in the country.
And they are not even talking about war crimes code anymore. War economic crimes code. They are no longer talking about that. So where is the sincerity?
Are you going to
if
have
I
the code
say to
established
Oliver
now?
Khan, the chair you are sitting in is rotting, is contagious. Do not sit in it. It's contagious. Do not sit in it repeatedly. And as soon as you walk out and I came and sat in the chair, how honest I am. It only means that I want to be to where you were. And that's why I'm saying these things. So our people need to understand this is not about President Weah. What I don't fathom and what is very much unfathomable is the fact that These people have 12 years. What they didn't change in 12 years? Is it now they're going to change those things? But at this point, my uncle is already old. He doesn't have the energy make decisions. To make the requisite decisions that could be made. Is it now they're going to change that? When these people in 12 years squander opportunity, do you think they will not squander opportunity again? What can they change now that they did not change in the past? So it is just something that we really need to think about. It's not about coming from CDC. Trust me, even if I was sedition, I was never going to vote for the Unity Party. Honestly, I'm not suffering from amnesia, forgetfulness. I'm not. I still remember, the memories stay fresh. When our partisans were killed, these were not respecters of democracy. When we decided to protest in this country, the then defense minister said, if we get in the street, lethal and non-lethal force will be used. Today, when they go protest, we feed them, we give them water, we protect them. Today, there's a proliferation of radio stations, intellectual centers. People speak their minds, and nobody gets incarcerated. Nobody gets arrested. There's no political prisoners. Unlike during the past, during that time, I got to realize that it is not my right to advocate for anything. If I do so, I'm going to be brutalized by police. I'm going to be wrongfully arrested. And if I wanted to be a journalist, I could not go on the radio to say certain things. I could be arrested and jailed because of the torture from the Unity Party-led government. And I, in my mind, in my sound mind, could not and would not have chosen the Unity Party in any form and manner. Even if I was in my sleep, even if I were insane, I would not have chosen the Unity Party. The Unity Party caused a lot of harm than good. Today, when people say, oh, this is not happening, it's because these people were not able to do a lot of things. Do you think if they had built more roads, the government would have focused on building roads right now? No, we would have focused on something else. Do you think if they had done electricity expansion, we would have done expansion now? No, we would have focused on something else. Do you think if they had created free education policy, we would have jumped into this now? We would have been focusing on something else. But because of that inadequacy as it relates to the distribution of wealth of this nation, that is why we are where we are. And they don't deserve to come back. These are the same people coming in different form. And we are people who understand that and want other people to understand. If these people did not change anything yesterday, what makes us think they can change it within a twinkle of an eye? It's impossible. It's just political.
And we're gradually winding down. Liberians are listening. You've condemned, you've given severe reasons why you think that the ticket should not be elected. Now, if Liberians are to twist the question around, why should we re-elect the president? Maybe in 1-2 minutes. Well, you want to do a summary as to why would Liberians, looking at Cummings, looking at Tier 1 Gonglo, Joseph Boaka with his Jeremiah Kuhn, and like you, political leader Prince Johnson, why do you think Liberians should reach at that point where they will say continuation should be the way forward?
Well, to do that, I will have to retrospect on our entrance in 2018. So we have predicted economic challenges. These challenges were being predicted, including Omil Jordan, which affected us greatly. We had to structure our team. 2019, opposition started to undermine us with lies that could not be authenticated. In Liberia, they tried to pay people to protest against us, lie that continual money was stolen. Till now, there's no report that has proven that. They were out there trying to undermine the government, to their international partners, and so on. With all of that, we were still undertaking some projects. We were being able to build roads. We were being able to improve the health sector to some extent. We were being able to have free education policy, the WAS fees. And I wouldn't get tired explaining this issue of my experience when I was in high school. I struggled a lot to pay my WAEC fees. At that time, it was WAEC. And people attempted abusing me. You know, abusing me because they wanted to pay my tuition, my WAS fees. So then no young woman has to be abused because of WAS fee. President Weah government says, don't worry, just study hard. We can pay that. It's a good reason. The market women, my mother was a market woman. And today we have modern market buildings everywhere around the country. Those women used to be in the sun, in the rain. Today we've taken them from there, improved their lives. You check to the park, Around there were makeshift houses that had been built into modern houses.
Mm-hmm.
The houses being built over there are not built for different people, but Liberians.
Okay.
In nuclear time were fired, and those houses were being modernized by the government. The houses there are not for foreign Liberians. In those community, the interventions that have been made. Then in 2020, the issue of COVID, you can understand and agree with me that Liberia being a country that solely relies on international support, at that point there was constraints. There were constraints because every country faced coronavirus and they had to find solution to the problem.
Good.
So what happened? People reduced their workforce. In Liberia, in other countries, when they reduced their workforce, those people were not on pay. I don't want to call them non-essential workers, but there were employees that were sent home and we kept them on the payroll. Unlike in other countries, developed countries send employees and that were not being paid. But with the little resources that we have, we maintained them. And what we did also when we came to power, we had the opportunity to have reduced the workforce, but we maintain everyone with this harmonization policy that they are politicizing. You have to understand when the Unity Party came to power, they dismissed a lot of our people and brought in people from abroad that they believe in because they condemned the education of our people. When we came, we didn't care about this divisive politics about who supported me or not. We said, instead of going home with nothing, let everyone be incorporated. Take little, and so that you don't go without anything. So we have been able to do that to maintain people on the payroll. The Unity Party flooded the payroll with a lot of their partisans and other people, yet we stay protect and respected them, and we still respect them at this point. Then we look at road connectivities. We've been able to build roads in different communities. Dole community is one of the communities. You live in Dole community, and there were times we fell from motorbikes. Students could not go to school when a woman got pregnant and she's about to give birth. Vehicle would not want to come in because the road was bad. Today, that's not the situation. People have started to make business because of the road. Road connectivity booms the economy to some extent. It also helps in agriculture.
So you went to Johnsonville, other places?
Johnsonville, Dole community, Logantown, the Congotown back road, out of Liberia. And also electricity expansion. There are counties that didn't have electricity. So you know that Cape Mount has electricity now? Bombing County, there were children that grew up, never saw electricity with their eyes.
So the president
and
took
today
the road
they can see that.
to your county, Lofa
County.
Ganta towards the southeast.
The southeast.
Are these things enough to equate, are there enough reasons to have the people making that decision?
Of course, these are enough reasons because you can tell me people came 12 years. They got resources. That was post-conflict Liberia. We just came from the war. Liberia was a darling year, and every country wanted to help in promoting peace and unity in Liberia. So we have all meal here. We have people pumping money into our economy. People, even with that, our people still borrow money from the central bank. Today, we don't borrow money from the central bank. We've been able to use what we earn, what we generate as a country, our taxpayer money. So I am saying to you, if people were in power and getting all those resources and the trickle-down effect will not be felt by the Liberian people, and you have someone in power for less than 6 years with little resources, and we can see things around. Look at the Freeport of Monrovia. Do you know how many dollars were paid to relatives of people in government just because they wanted to use their building as office spaces? We've started to reduce that. We started building our own offices in the different institutions. These are things we're talking about. Institutionalism. Now, when President Weah time is over, 12 years, elapsed, anybody who comes will not have to be focusing on building.
They will not have to build new headquarters.
Exactly. They will not have to build new headquarters at the LPRC. They wouldn't have to be talking about expanding electricity. They will not have to be talking about building road again. There'll be different things that they will have to focus on. That's good governance. And the president deserves to be re-elected.
Mamesi Kaba is an assistant minister from the Ministry of Gender. At the same time, a stalwart of the CDC. She's here giving us
executive committee.
That's what she said. Giving us more reasons why her president, Mr. President, Mr. President should be re-elected. If you're there, we are here. We don't have the luxury of time. 6 calls will be okay. Let's interact with you quickly. This first question. Go ahead. What is the name? Quickly. No time. Hello. Hello. Are you there? Okay, let's leave you right there and take this other person. Go ahead quickly.
Okay.
How you doing? What's your name?
My name is Rose. Calling for the village.
Tinker Village. Go ahead, Rose.
Yes, I want to tell the minister thank you for telling all our message. For some of we from Nimaka say we just forget about Prince Joseph because we know.
Oh my God. We should just forget about Prince Johnson. She slipped off the line. We are very sorry about that. We leave you. We take this other person quickly. Let's hear you. Hello. Hello. Oh my God. What's going on? Let's take this person quickly. Go ahead. What's your name?
Hey, okay, good afternoon.
Good evening from Liberia. Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, this is Lucien calling from the USA.
US. Go ahead,
How
Lucien.
you doing, Lucien? Hello. Yeah, basically about how you doing, Honorable Minister. Yeah, I want to say thanks to you, KOK, for the show, and I want to just say this is what we're talking about, KOK, that Liberia under President Weah is a new generation change. Because if I can see the young minister over there empowering women, that alone is an indication that President Weah needs second term, because we need more women to be more powerful in the government, in every sector in our country. So I just want to say thank you, and Liberian people, give President Weah the second term so we can get more women in government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. More women. This other person quickly. You're from the diaspora. Let's hear you. What's your name? Ambrose. Go ahead, Ambrose.
Okay, I just got a quick question for you. I don't want to say this to the minister. I think you went to finish. After the 12 years away, you said here, what is rational decision the vice president ever make in his whole life? And you can point to the same directed decision and was a good.
Okay.
Not for the past 12 years and past.
Okay. Okay.
The current, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you very much, Ambrose. Let's leave you right there and take this other person quickly. Let's hear you, Chief. Hello, go ahead. Oh my God! Listen to the phone. Don't listen to your radio. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Hello, okay.
Go ahead. Let's hear you. You're live.
Yeah, right. From Dubai.
Ibrahim Kamara from Dubai. Go ahead, Abi.
Yeah, I thank my sister in the studio, Mama Shikaba, for a brilliant talk. And yeah, I come on there. I'm good, man.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Thank you for greeting your sister from Dubai. Let's take the last three callers, then we go home quickly. Go ahead. What's your name? Where you join us from?
Thank you very much, Kind, for recognition. My name is Ibrahim Dugu, and I join you from Cloud this evening. Thank you very much. My name is good evening to Minister Nancy Kada in studio for recognition. My name is Ibrahim Dugu, the member of the National Responding Defense Team. I join you from Cloud this evening. Thank you very much, Madam Minister. You know, look, let me say this to you, Kind. Like the minister said, you know, we come to Liberian politics. Jeremiah is now well known as compared to our past president, Joe Howard. That ticket is one of the weak tickets. Let me say this to you. This election will be very easy for CDC. One round. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We leave you right there. Let's take the second to the last person on the international line. Let's hear you. 1 minute.
Good evening, Freedom family.
Good evening. What's your name?
Teacher James Kopolomening. Flomo calling from Dubai, United Arab Emirates.
Go ahead, Flomo.
Yeah, I want to say thanks so much to my own self-minister. I call her my own minister and my sister, Mr. Kaba. Thanks so much for the job well done for our people. And thanks to the Freedom family.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, my dear brother. You are the second to the last caller. Let's squeeze in the very last person. You are the last. Go ahead. Don't take most of our time.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me such a brilliant opportunity for KOK. And let me say a good evening to our energetic, brilliant minister in Steve, Mama Sikaba.
Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah. Thank you. And also to the Freedom family for the effort doing for our Liberian people. For the recognition and poker, Robert. And I join you from a comfortable resident on the capital bypass. You know, you don't have a rocket science to tell you that those people that left power before today, President, we have taken power, they did nothing. Absolutely nothing they did. as the minister stated. Because if you claim that you debt 40, then why should you pay people school fee? If you claim debt 40, then why should you take road and collect go to your house? The road that goes to pocket living, that was deplorable. You claim that you debt 40, but once you left it on the road and leave the house deplorable. So that thing that report them nothing. That's why you confess shamelessly. You are very shamelessly in your confession by saying that we squander opportunity. But this the person we are for mutual lasting and material lasting all of the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Okay, Rabas, we'll leave right there. Let's go over to you, Minister Kaba. We had 2 minute calls to take, but the time is not our friend.
Again, let me thank you for the opportunity to have been invited on your platform. I want to say thank you to all of the callers, especially my brothers from Dubai. I miss you guys. I know we interacted in 2021 and the reception was so great. These are people that are very loyal to the party and to the government. These are patriots. I just want to say thank you to Brother James Flomo, Brother Abraham Kamara, Brother Kalilu, and everyone who has called. I think what I just said is what has been said by these people and some of the things they said. So I'm not going to waste much time because we are out of time. But I just want to say to us, like, be very careful. We are going to elections. Whatever decision we make right now, we will not be able to change that decision until after years. If it is a positive one, it will reflect on us. If it is negative, we will be forced to live with it until after 6 years. So let's be wise. These are the same people coming back in different forms. Some of the things they say they are against are some of the things they are doing now. They are not different. They are very desperate. They can do anything to come back to power. And you have to make them understand that in their quest to do and to come to power, you will make a sound decision. Thank you so very much. God bless Liberia and God bless the President of the Republic of Liberia and the people of Liberia.
Mamesi Kaba there. Abika Padam, she's Assistant Minister Mamesi Kaba. Bidding us farewell. Until then, until we meet on tomorrow. Your mic is off. Until we return on tomorrow, have a wonderful, wonderful time.